The philosophy of science. What we refer to as science is a repository of knowledge we, the humans, have gained as a result of applying a certain method when we approach our surroundings, the reality, the universe. It is a way we can develop our understandings for the external world, so the success, the outcome of our actions, can be repeated with guaranteed results. So new actions, new activity can have results that will be predicted with high degree of certainty. What is the philosophy of science? Is there a stance, a position we take when we approach the universe? Well, we know about the method, a classification that everyone agrees on, is that to gain this scientific knowledge, to do science, we must apply the scientific method. Let's look what defines this method from the aspect of human belief, in order to understand the underlying philosophy, the human underpinning for the scientific activity. We find the scientific method described with 6 or 7 or 8 steps. But instead of focusing on the descriptive details, let's look at the actions we take. For the purposes of finding the philosophy of science, let's look at our activity during this method. We can easily reduce them into 3 steps. The first step is observation. Observing our surroundings with our senses or through the tools we develop. The second step is having an understanding, the theory, developing a hypothesis, analyzing the data. We elevate the observation to our own virtual creation in our minds. And the third step is the conclusion of our effort, the model we create into our minds, and that includes tying our theory to a natural law or discovering a natural law. We test our understanding with experiment, which in itself is a more informed observation, starting the cycle again, going over many iterations to find the best understanding of the natural processes. Do the actions of jumping from one step to another tell us anything about the philosophy of science? What are these actions? It all starts with observation. Our life depends on it. The better we can notice and identify our surroundings, our reality, the more informed will be our actions, the better our chances for successful activity. The multitude of life has developed many senses. For example, the hawk can see better from a distance, the dog can smell better, and the bat can hear the surroundings. With this information, we can find the food, the safe path, identify our problems. The trust of the senses is not a passive action. It comes with the acceptance that whatever we observe is actually there. It comes with acceptance of the received reality. If we're doing science, the observation receives a different status, a higher status, because it gives us the information on which we will build upon. Not only the acceptance of the external reality, but also the trust or the belief that the truth happens out there. If we consider the observations of the material reality, we can say without any hesitations that the belief that the truth happens is unanimous and absolute throughout the human race at the present time. So, let's add this finding to our simple model. On this simple scientific model, jumping from step 1 to step 2 requires acceptance that phenomena observed from material reality is the truth. The first philosophical pillar of science is acceptance of reality as the ultimate truth. What is the human predisposition that needed to jump to the next step? While the building of the virtual model in our mind requires the acceptance, the next destination holds the key to finding our predisposition: natural laws. What do we really mean with natural laws? Let's take an example. The apple falls from the tree because of the gravity. But where does the gravity lies? Can we put it in a box? We find that natural laws have three distinct qualities. They are not physical. They do not have dimensions contained within. They are a permanent feature of the material reality, but they are not limited or conditioned by the three dimensions. They also are not limited or conditioned by time. They do not born and die. They do not get weaker by time. Philosophically speaking, they are immortal, eternal qualities. It is this very quality that actually defines the natural law. All the natural laws need this special quality, need to be permanent to be accepted as such. A permanent feature, a permanent condition, a permanent realm that permeates, seeps into our reality through existence. The theory developed then after the observation, and the subsequent knowledge or science obtained, the knowledge we want to cultivate depends on the eternal qualities of matter. Even if we have a vacuum, an absence of matter, these laws do not stop existing. The second action on the scientific model requires the understanding, the belief that the truth is connected to the eternal. So acceptance that truth is connected to ubiquitous, permanent, and timeless law. These are the two pillars of science, the two philosophical pillars of science. These are that we must accept the reality, well, just the material reality for now, as the truth, because that is the status quo with the science and everything that we believe throughout the world. So the first philosophical pillar is that we must accept reality as the truth, and we must accept that the truth is connected to the eternal. These are the two philosophical pillars. There is no science, there is no scientific method without this belief in the nature of reality. And the third step of the scientific method is a continuous check on these very two beliefs of acceptance and connection to the eternal. If for any reason or at any time one of these two requirements is not fulfilled, then it will not be accepted as scientific, it will not be accepted as a universal natural law. So not only that this two beliefs, if you will, are a requirement of science, but they are so important that have to be permanently checked. Whether we use through our different applications, or we check to further our knowledge and our understanding, it doesn't change the philosophical approach to universe in order to obtain science. I would like to add a little reminder as a conclusion. Every time we enjoy the fruits of science, the food from modern agriculture, the packaged foods, the beautiful selection of clothes, the transportation, the various transportation methods, our strong and comfortable homes, every time we look at the smartphone, at the root of all these achievements is our unaltered, unconscious belief. The symbolic meaning with every use is the belief in a reality with the eternal, is the belief that all existence is because of the eternal. One can say is the belief in a reality with God, a belief in a reality from God. And that is science. The root of science is a belief in a reality with God. And as an added thought, it is that we also find, through understanding the root of science, the philosophical root of science, we find the meaning of life. Because in some sort of capacity, science describes the meaning of life, which is understanding the eternal, understanding God.